the King. Tonight, working to ease fears here at home amid the war in the Middle East.
With everything that's going on in the world right now, we just want to make sure that our area is being looked after.
Police across the GTA continue to increase their presence as communities raise concerns that the violence between Israel and Hamas will spread here. Plus,
we always replay his voice, laugh, and memories in our head.
Remembering Teresh Bobby Ramroop. A year after his death, family, friends, and community members gather to honor the man who died after falling from a window. And
it's almost what has become of Toronto, a car stolen every 6 minutes. It's beyond frightening.
We told you about 2 cars of his being stolen. Now it's happened again. And this time the thief got away with his Lexus after the dealership told him to uninstall a security system. Good evening and thanks for joining us. Tomorrow will mark 1 week since the Hamas attack on Israel. And given the events over the last week, many people living in the GTA with ties to the region are concerned for their safety. Today, a number of police services increased their presence, hoping that will help ease those fears. Dale Manakduk reports.
At the Promenade Shopping Center in Thornhill, York Regional Police have set up a command post. The mall is in the heart of a community where over 20,000 Jewish people live. The post will remain in place throughout the weekend.
The heightened police presence is not only for one particular community, but it's for everyone. And just to make everyone feel a little safer, seeing that with everything that's going on in the world right now, we just want to make sure that our area is being looked after.
Today, many stopping by to drop tokens of appreciation, giving thanks to officers for increasing their presence.
There is fear and apprehension in our community today and the last few days. And we just wanted to show them appreciation by bringing them some pizza.
I usually take walks in a park every day, and I saw the police presence in there as well.
Yesterday, Toronto police announced they were increasing their presence at synagogues and mosques and set up 2 command posts of their own. Shortly after, a man and 2 boys were arrested for making threats to the Tannenbaum Community Hebrew Academy of Toronto. All 3 are facing multiple charges, including intimidation and uttering death threats.
Daughter kept her kids from school today because they also go to a Hebrew school.
York Regional Police say there have been no reported incidents today. In Toronto, police set up a command post at the Bialik Hebrew Day School. Some families chose to keep their kids home, and the school's principal says it's been a challenging week.
At the same time, our teachers are incredible, and they do an amazing job of making sure that the kids are shielded from a lot of the concerns that are happening out there. And we've been having age-appropriate conversations in our classrooms, and we're very confident in what's been happening here at school on a daily basis because we trust and respect our teachers.
Toronto police also stepping up their presence in the Muslim community.
For the sense of the security for the people who come here. And for 1 out of a million, that's all you need, who might wander in and start trouble, they will be deterred by seeing police presence.
Toronto, Durham, and York Regional Police say they're not aware of any demonstrations planned in their jurisdictions. However, Peel Police issuing a public safety advisory saying it's aware of protests today and throughout the weekend in Mississauga. Dale Manukduk, CBC News, Thornhill.
York University is condemning a statement issued by 3 student associations, which appears to support the Hamas attack on Israeli civilians. The statement, released jointly yesterday by the York Federation of Students, the York University Graduate Students Association, and the Glendon College Students Union, describes the attack as a strong act of resistance by the Palestinian people and refers to Israel as the so-called Israel. The statement goes on to say that students remain unwavering in their support of the Palestinian people's right for self-determination and liberation. Today, York University said it condemns the statement, calling it inflammatory. In a post on social media, the school says freedom of expression must never reach into promoting or justifying violence against unarmed civilians. To suggest otherwise is abhorrent and does not reflect the views of York University. The school is calling on the students' associations to immediately clarify that they firmly reject any acts of violence or discrimination. A mass exodus of Palestinians from northern Gaza is underway. They're making their way south after the Israeli army told nearly 1 million people to leave within the next 24 hours. Hamas continued to fire rockets at several Israeli cities, dismissing talk of an Israeli ground invasion as a ploy and telling people to stay put. Here in Toronto, the first flight from Athens carrying Canadians who fled Israel arrived tonight.
Obviously, the horror of what occurred there is affecting everyone. And the raining of rockets and the trauma that kids are experiencing, running into shelters and running into stairwells, and everyone knows someone who is missing or lost their lives.
More flights are expected to touch down in the coming days. Federal officials said earlier this week they'd assist all Canadians in Israel who want to leave. Canadians who are in Gaza currently have no way out without a humanitarian corridor. And a pedestrian is seriously injured after they were hit by a car in Vaughan tonight. It happened just before 7:30 near Jane Street and Norwood Avenue. That's just east of Canada's Wonderland. Police say a male pedestrian was taken to hospital with serious and possibly life-threatening injuries. The driver of the vehicle remained at the scene. For the second day in a row, a jury heard testimony from a man accused of killing a Muslim family in London, Ontario. Nathaniel Veltman is facing terrorism and murder charges after the family was hit by a truck in June of 2021. 4 people died, and the only survivor is a 9-year-old boy. Thomas Dagla has more on today's testimony.
Nathaniel Veltman testified about spending 12 hours a day or more watching what he described as conspiracy garbage and propaganda from a reputed neo-Nazi website and from infamous online conspiracy theorist Alex Jones. That's the type of material the avowed white nationalist says he became addicted to in the months before he ran over a Muslim family with his truck. Now 22 years old, Veltman wore a blue shirt and a black suit jacket today as he testified for the second straight day at his own trial. Veltman told the court early in the pandemic he was overcome with what he described as a suicidal depression. He said his mental condition only worsened in June 2021 when his grandmother died. I was at the end of my rope in this state of mental deterioration, being tormented by horrible thoughts, he said. My grandmother just passed. She was a mother figure to me. The accused testified later that week he was taking magic mushrooms, and the next day he carried out the attack. But was it premeditated? One criminal law expert we spoke to says the defense is seeking to raise doubt among the jury, potentially for a shorter sentence.
If the jury is not satisfied beyond a reasonable doubt of planning and deliberation, then it won't be able to render a verdict of guilty for first-degree murder, although a verdict of guilty for second-degree murder would still be available to it.
Veltman told the court his strict Christian upbringing and being told to be wary of the government primed him to believe COVID conspiracy theories. He recalled how he became fixated on websites featuring far-right ideologies and said he became detached from reality. While in the witness box, Veltman has not been asked directly about the truck attack on 5 members of the Afzal family. He has pleaded not guilty to terrorism-motivated first-degree murder and attempted murder. Veltman is expected to continue testifying next week. Thomas Dagg, CBC News, Toronto.
A vigil was held tonight for a man who fell to his death from a Toronto high-rise 1 year ago today. Friends, family, and community members gathered outside the building to honor the memory of Teresh Bobby Ramroop. The incident occurred after a prolonged interaction with police. And while the province's watchdog cleared all officers of any wrongdoing, Ramroop's family says they're still seeking answers 1 year later. Tyler Cheese reports.
Today marks 1 year since my baby life has gone to nothing.
Teresh Bobby Ramroop's mother is still grieving following the death of her son 1 year ago today.
My heart is so ripped from inside out. My baby is gone. He's not coming back. He's not coming back. Since last year to this year, I'm like bedridden. I cannot get off my bed. My family is torn apart.
On October 13th, 2022, police were called to this high-rise in the Jane and Finch neighborhood, responding to calls of a person throwing furniture from an apartment unit. According to police, Ramroop had barricaded himself inside a bedroom for hours.
I don't know what happened that day to him, but
all he knew was he needed his mom, and he was asking over and over and over for his mom. And that never happened.
Police say Ramroop eventually climbed outside an open window in the bedroom, lost his grip, and fell 16 stories. Paramedics pronounced him dead at the scene. A year later, his family and community members say they're still looking for answers.
What was the need of, calling like tactical forces, 24 officers in SWAT gear? What was the point of all these resources for a mental health call?
In February, Ontario's police watchdog cleared officers involved of any wrongdoing and released a report detailing its investigation into Ramroop's death. Now the family says they want to ensure that Ramroop is remembered.
He was ambitious and a goal-getter. He was working 2 jobs and had promised my mom a house one day. He wanted to return the favor and take care of his mom.
And the community is calling for change in hopes of preventing other families from experiencing the same kind of pain.
We need frontline workers, we need mental health workers. These are the things that our communities need. Racialized, Black, working poor, Indigenous communities. This is where dollars need to go, not into brutal force policing.
On its website, Toronto Police say its officers are committed to providing appropriate and compassionate responses to people experiencing mental health crises. Tyler Cheese, CBC News, Toronto.
And we have an update to a story we first brought you last month. Just days after a Lexus dealership told a North York man to remove an anti-theft device from his car, the vehicle was stolen. And it's the second time in 9 months his car has been taken. As Olivia Bowden reports, it's raised questions about the manufacturer's responsibility.
It's more disturbing than anything else.
It happened again. Mitchell Levine's brand new Lexus was stolen right out of this lot at Wilson Station last week. It's the second time he's had his car taken from this Green Pea lot, and the third time he's had a car stolen in the last 16 months.
It's almost what has become of Toronto, that, a car stolen every 6 minutes. It's beyond frightening.
And his Lexus tops the list of the most stolen brands in the province, according to Equité Association, which tracks stolen vehicle data. In Levine's case, he bought his Lexus brand new in July. Given he'd already lost another to theft, he had an aftermarket ignition lock installed. CBC Toronto reported last month that when Lexus Canada found out, it voided his warranty and had him remove the device, claiming it damaged the vehicle's wiring. They also wanted $20,000 to fix it.
Levine says he had the ignition lock removed while he negotiated a fix with Lexus. But in the meantime, it only took a few days for a thief to take off with his car.
You don't have any sense of personal belonging in that you can't hold on to anything. You can't keep anything. The other thing that I'd love to see is the manufacturers who have the cars being stolen provide better security in their vehicles.
Lexus told CBC Toronto that it's sorry to hear about the theft, and stolen vehicles are affecting the entire auto industry. It said it's continuously improving the security of vehicles. New technical features it's added include stolen vehicle locators that track cars, plus a smart key fob that allows drivers to turn off their fob when it's not being used. David Adams, the president of Global Automakers Canada, which represents manufacturers, says automakers are working on that, developing more anti-theft technology. While many cars that are stolen in the GTA get shipped overseas, those that are recovered contain information about how the vehicle was stolen. According to Equité, 45% of stolen vehicles in Ontario were recovered in 2022. Manufacturers examine that to make improvements. That takes time, though.
It's not like these things are going to happen immediately. The typical vehicle cycle tends to be about 3 to 5 years. But, we do have a rampant theft problem right now with vehicles on the road, and we need to find a way to solve that.
As for Levine, he says he's not only upset at Lexus, but at the TTC for what he says is a lack of security here. The TTC wouldn't say how many cars have been stolen from this lot, but it did say it's looking at improving security. Olivia Bowden, CBC News, Toronto.
All right, time for a live look outside right now. Mainly cloudy and sitting at 11 degrees. Time to bring in Colette Kennedy for your first look at weather. Colette, it felt like things were warming up, but I feel like you're going to tell me that might be short-lived.
Yeah, nice that we could sneak a pretty decent day in here, one more at the end of the week before we do have these changing conditions. And I know for parts of southwestern Ontario, it was already changing. There was that band of showers already pushing in from Goderich towards London earlier in the day. But for the GTA, most of the GTA, just saw the increase in cloudiness, daytime highs. Then there were readings, especially east there, into the mid-teens. Kingston up towards 16 degrees. The hotspot earlier this afternoon actually was towards Belleville at just over 16. And this is the situation and why I've been talking all week about how the tracking is so interesting with this system, because we get the showers developing in the overnight hours. Yes, they press towards the city, but then kind of back off again. So it lingers into tomorrow afternoon, perhaps even Hamilton, you'll still be feeling it, but certainly the Niagara region and certainly Sarnia back towards Windsor, where it takes a bit more time to clear. The winds will be stronger in those regions. And then there's less of an effect north of the city and certainly east. So tonight, 9 showers in the morning and then maybe even some sunny breaks tomorrow afternoon. We'll talk about just how much rain is falling in those certain areas and the winds when I come back.
Welcome back. Well, good news for those who enjoyed the Alcohol in Parks program. The city extended the pilot project until the end of March next year. It began in early August and allows people to drink alcohol in 27 public parks. The city says there were only 2 complaints related to alcohol in those parks. Councillors whose wards initially included parks have the option to withdraw from the extension, and city staff will meet again next month to include an updated list of participating parks and any further amendments. The Toronto Waterfront Marathon will take over downtown streets on Sunday. Thousands of people from around the world will be here to compete. Greg Ross spoke to some of them, including one marathoner with a unique track record.
It's an incredible test of endurance, one that many will be experiencing for the first time on Sunday.
Have you ever run a marathon before?
Never, no, it's my first time.
We're doing the half marathon. It's our first half.
Many others are returning to test themselves again.
Just to get back into running again. The last marathon I ran was 7 years ago, this race.
Few have run as many marathons as Rick Raymond, who has never missed one here in Toronto.
I'm the only male on the planet who has run the Toronto Waterfront Marathon every single year since year 1.
This year's race will mark a major milestone for Raymond. It's his 400th marathon overall. He first started running them in 1978 when he was 32. He's still going strong at 77 years old, although he admits he's not quite as fast as he once was.
My best marathon time is 2 hours and 47 minutes when I was really running competitively. My last marathon 2 weeks ago in Corning, New York, marathon's called Wineglass. It took me 3 hours and 13 minutes to reach the halfway mark.
On Sunday, he'll run his 11th marathon this year. He says he runs at least 30 minutes a day every day, rain or shine, snow or sleet. He says he never misses a day, even if he's sick.
On Tuesday, it was 44 years, 10 months without missing a day of running.
He says that streak won't be coming to an end anytime soon. And when people ask how long he plans to continue competing in marathons, the answer is always the same.
As long as I can do it.
Greg Ross, CBC News.
Your long-range forecast now. And Colette, looking ahead to this weekend and this rain we've been talking about all week, the way it's coming in, it's not really that straightforward, is it?
Yeah, Angelina, I feel like it's not necessarily that it's so complex a forecast to put together, but it's complicated to explain, to make sure everybody understands, because you'll see those rain icons on your phone. And if you're eastern parts of the GTA, there won't be much. But if you're to the west, it's a whole different story. So you just have to kind of watch carefully how this is going to be tracking through the region. We're really at sort of the cutoff here, right through the city. And it's heavier rains back from Sarnia towards Windsor. I'll show you what I mean by heavier in terms of the accumulations you'll see along the north shore of Lake Erie and over towards the Niagara region. It's lighter showers overnight tonight, though, through Toronto, towards Pickering, Oshawa, and then beyond that, you barely see anything. It's just a cloud cover. We get into some strong winds as the system moves through, too. By morning hours, just clouds left behind in many areas, and into cottage country, much drier. And then it's a different story to the later afternoon elsewhere there, closer to Lake Erie. So that's kind of the difference. The principal difference difference. And then there will be some isolated showers on Sunday. Yes, for the Waterfront Marathon, maybe a sprinkle. I think the conditions are going to be pretty good, just a bit of a breeze. And by Sunday, it'll be more from the north. So lots of things to kind of factor in here. Windsor, 20, 25 millimeters of rain, not out of the question. 10 to maybe 15 for Sarnia and Chatham-Kent, towards Hamilton even. And Hamilton, like South Hamilton, will see more than north because of how this is going to move through. Could be as much as 5 millimeters towards Toronto, but I'm thinking even less than that. There are the stronger winds. Those will be hard to escape through southwestern Ontario tonight and into tomorrow. And then it is on Sunday. I mentioned there'll still be some winds lingering. These are the gusts, so the sustained winds will be less than this. I mean, really, Saturday's the day with the breezier conditions. Overnight temperatures, they are milder where we have that cloud deck. Notice a little bit cooler there towards the Ottawa Valley with that low of 4. 13 the high for Toronto. Hoping we'll see the clouds break up a little bit to allow some sun to peek through to the later afternoon hours. Then Sunday, kind of similar conditions, 12 degrees with only isolated showers. And then towards midweek and especially the end of week next week, Angelina, as I looked ahead, I think we'll see a little bump in our temperatures.
All right, thanks for that, Colette. And we'll end our show tonight by bringing you to the 12th annual BMO International Film Festival of South Asia, Toronto. The event showcases the very best of South Asian cinema.
I think we are at the brink of or cusp of a major change where South Asian films are concerned, thanks to OTT platforms actually, that they've made our films accessible to the audience all over the world. I think we are already witnessing a major change.
And CBC Toronto is once again a proud sponsor of the festival. It features more than 120 films and other special events like workshops with world-renowned filmmakers and industry experts. The festival runs until next Sunday. And that's our show for you tonight. Thank you so much for watching. Shannon Martin has your next local newscast tomorrow at 6. Have a great weekend, everyone. Good night.